Friends, in this video for M2W, I'm going to talk to you on the topic, the need for insurance. Firstly, let us ask a basic question. Do you really need insurance? The answer is obvious. You definitely need insurance. You need insurance for a variety of reasons and for a variety of causes. First, you must protect yourself against the high cost of hospitalization. Whether it's for you or for your loved ones, you must always make sure that if you are faced with the need for hospitalization, you will be able to confidently give all the care that is needed to overcome the health issues, and at the end of it, you will not end up being financially weaker. I've seen a lot of friends who have taken care of their dear ones without bothering about money. In the event of hospitalization, they have spent money without any limit. In some instances, the end has actually been sad. But even after that, what really troubled them and gave them a lot of financial discomfort later was that they had to spend a significant part of their lifetime savings. Now, this is something that could have been avoided if you had covered the risk of hospitalization for yourself and for your loved ones. So, the first need that I clearly see is the need to cover the risk of hospitalization. So, you need to have medical insurance for yourself and for all your dependents, which means for your extended family. Not only that, make sure that even if you have independent siblings or relatives, they also are adequately insured either at their own cost or at the cost of their employers. Many people accept medical insurance as an employment perquisite, but when they change jobs, they don't ensure that they continue to be insured for the same value to cover the same people for the same duration. In the event of hospitalization, they end up losing a lot of money which they had saved for other purposes. My point is, you can give yourself the best health care if you give yourself the right level of medical insurance and if you cover everybody whom you need to financially support in the event of hospitalization. This is an absolute necessity. You have to do it, and you must do it in a way in which there are no riders and you are not going to have nasty surprises. Many people who buy online medical insurance don't read the fine print, and later, when faced with hospitalization or medical requirements, realize that they have not bought the policy in the form that they needed it. So, this is something that you need to help. So, take some help of the right people and ensure that you are completely covered and there are no gaps or loose ends in the policy, which will later put you to trouble. Having covered medical insurance, let's come to the next point. This is a little touchy. I've seen many families lose their breadwinners during COVID. Chartered accountants, entrepreneurs, independent professionals have all lost their lives. These people were at the peak of their earnings and they had planned to create the retirement corpus, the wealth corpus they will leave for their children, the corpus that would ensure that their children get higher education, money which they would spend for the marriage of their children. All these things were waiting to be created. When they were waiting to be created, the family lost the breadwinner. This is a situation which no one should face, but so many people are continuously facing. In the event of a family losing its breadwinner, what does the family need? it needs emotional support, it needs people who continue to care for the family, but more importantly, it needs to have the same financial means. The family should continue to enjoy the same amount of financial earnings every month or income from somewhere which will ensure that all the things which a family's breadwinner would have given that family will continue to be given till all those needs are met. Now, in several cases, we find that the insurance is missing or inadequate. A family's breadwinner has a human life value. He has a certain financial value to his life which should be covered. If it is covered, what would happen in the event of a tragedy or a loss of life is that the insurance company would compensate the family with a fixed sum of money, which would then take care of the needs of the family for a long time. Why do most people miss out on this simple thing? Why are families not adequately covered for the human life value of its breadwinner? The answer is very simple. Term insurance, which is meant to cover this need, is seen as a product where you don't get anything if you continue to live. Now, this is exactly the way it should not be seen, because you are actually paying premium and buying a term policy to cover the risk, not to get a return. I would happily pay that premium with the expectation that there would never be a claim. Actually, it's good to lose that money, but most of us feel that that loss of money is avoidable. What the families face in an eventuality is loss of income, loss of peace of mind, loss of a loved one, and an inability to cope with that loss, which is very sad. If you land with that inability to cope with loss, you are not able to live your life the way you would have lived if you had your loved ones to financially support you. Friends, term insurance is not a cost. It is risk management, and the term policy again should cover whatever needs to be covered. There should not be riders, there should not be escape routes where a claim, if made, is not honored. So, you should ensure that you have gone through everything in detail and bought the right policy for the right value, so that your family is always covered in case of an eventuality which ought not to happen. We live in an era where we use a lot of assets. We have gadgets in a house. Our living conditions, the way we live, requires a lot of investment in our homes. This investment needs to be covered. I had a friend who had 2 houses, 2 families he was supporting, his own and elders. And during a flood, both the houses got flooded to the first floor, so they lost almost everything they had. It meant an investment of 50 lakhs to get back whatever they lost. Your television, your computers, your sofas, your beds, your refrigerators, your washing machines, your dryers, your dishwashers, everything went. Now, it's very important to cover your assets. It's very important to ensure that if there is a risk to your assets, you are compensated. Here again, people see this as an unnecessary cost because they think that there may not be a flood or there may not be an accident. But there could be a fire, there could be so many incidents which could create loss to assets. And it is important to cover all these incidents so that that expenditure is never going to come on you if there is an incident. Again, there is no income to the money that you spend to cover this risk, but it's very, very critical to cover this risk, especially if you're living a lifestyle that involves usage of a lot of these things. And your house also needs to be protected. It needs to be insured. In the West, everybody has insurance, but here we are yet to get used to that because we think that nothing will happen to us. But many things happen to people and many things set people back by years. And if they were a little better prepared, this would not have happened. It's always important not to land a liability on yourself, which you have not planned for. And it is necessary to incur a cost so that if that liability crops up, it's taken care of. This is precisely what insurance will do in your life. And it's very important that you cover each aspect of your life adequately so that if you're faced with adversity, you're covered. And if you're covered, then whatever else that you want to do with your earnings and savings will happen, and it will not come in the way of your enjoying whatever you plan to do in your later years. Thank you for watching this video. Get yourself the right insurance and know how to do it so that there are no gaps in your policies.